Movie notes on The Greatest Showman, 2017 film. This is my Friday, 26th July 2024 viewing. I got this started earlier in the day. I went to the library because I finished my book and I finished my movies. So I took it back and I got a book, and 3 movies that I'd put on hold had showed up. And then after I got back today, a book that I'd put on hold showed up already. So I'm like, maybe I'm going again tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, this is a film, The Greatest Showman, that I actually saw in theaters back when it came out. I drove, where was it? Dublin, California, and saw this in theaters. I was living in the Bay Area. How did I end up in a place called Dublin, California? I don't actually. I was just like driving. I was like, maybe I should go see a movie. I've wanted to see this movie. Is there a movie complex nearby? Like a multiplex or megaplex or whatever they're called. And there was. And I was like, is there The Greatest Showman? There was. The rest is history. Okay. And so, and I'm Tanis Coralee Leonhardi, she, her, hers of Seattle. This is, I don't live in California anymore, nor do I aspire to go back. And this is being filmed in the Seattle area. I'm Tanis Coralee Leonhardi, she, her, hers of Seattle. And so my description for this viewing is this film is a biographical film about Phineas Taylor Barnum and his beginnings of a circus business in approximately the 1860s/1870s, founding year 1871. So yes, this is about a real business that this man, played by Hugh Jackman, started, and kind of the progression of the beginnings of the circus. And so then the circus was founded in 1871, and so it's not, I'm filming this in 2024, so this is over 150 years later. I got around to making a YouTube video about it. So a little bit of context. So when I saw this in theaters, this is actually one where I kind of like went back and looked up some of the history. And so I'll provide, and so this is kind of information from back when I saw this in theaters. And then some of my takeaways from back then, as well as this viewing. What I saw when I first saw it back then in theaters, and now actually harmonized. So sometimes when I watch movies, it's like I have the same takeaways, and it's like the takeaways are the same as watching it the first time, and sometimes there are different takeaways. So this one went full circle in that sense. So the circus, which did change names over the course of its existence, went defunct in 2017, which is the same year this movie came out. It's the same year this movie came out. So the circus ran for over 140 years, the business. This movie serves as a reminder that sometimes a movie or a book is a means of communicating an ending. That is, it is a farewell. So sometimes people write a book about themselves or make a movie about themselves or something like that, and it's like a beginning, and like this is, or an introduction and that kind of stuff. And this took the opposite approach of this is our adieu, this is our goodbye. Right. And so why did it? And so something I was looking at, I looked at back then, and came to mind while I was watching this again, was in the 1950s, 1957, it became radical by adopting a no tent format, which is to this day a radical circus format. If that was the fatal business decision, it is worth noting it took 60 years for it to show as fatal. So sometimes when something goes out of business, the choice, so if that were the case for this particular circus business model, was the removal of the tent was the fatal business decision, it took 60 years. So sometimes a decision made in an instant takes 60 years to prove deadly. All right. There's not a acceleration. There's no way to accelerate it. It just takes its time. It takes its course that it is meant to take. So that was something I thought about. I was like, it is a more, if one wants to stabilize the reputation of something, it is better than relying on, I went to like, and this actually came up, so I've been to one circus in my life. I did not enjoy it, and I remember leaving and being like, I did not enjoy this so much that, how would I actually describe this? I'm like, so essentially I sat in a big ginormous tent. Is it even ginormous? So a big tent by the water for like how many hours, and was bored the entire time. I'm not into gymnastics or contortionists or stuff like that. And I was like, maybe a circus would be better without a tent. Oh, so that's the P.T. Barnum circus. So maybe something else, right? Because, you know, that's the business model, is like taking away the tent, is all of the circuses have tents. So then, you know, you walk out of whatever it was and go, well, that was miserable. I just sat in a tent for blank hours. And then, you know, here comes P.T. Barnum, reincarnated, and comes over and goes, well, then I have the circus for you. This one over here has no tent. And I'm like, but I just fell for that, for the one with the tent. So not the one with no tent either. But I want to define it in terms of what I want. So that's my best take on the, did that actually happen? There's a reason I've only been to a circus once in my life. It was a tented one, so don't worry. It was not the P.T. Barnum circus that turned me off to circuses. It was one that focuses on contortionism and gymnastics in a big tent, at least the one I went to. So not the P.T. Barnum circus, which had a bunch of different names. And the Greatest Showman, or some combination of those words, were actually one of the names of the circus business that he started towards the beginning. If you didn't know that, right? It's not an arbitrary, oh, like, is he the Greatest Showman? No, that was like legit the name of the business. So like, if you're just like passively watching this movie, it's biographical. And now you know. So those are my, okay, those are my movie notes on The Greatest Showman 2017 film, 26 July 2024 viewing.